Welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Naturally Ashley, your host, here to guide you down the rabbit hole into the world of psychoactive plants, frogs, and fungi. Meet Judy. Judy was born in Azores and immigrated to Canada with her family when she was just a baby. At the age of 18, she became powerfully inspired by Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer, beginning a lifelong passion for personal growth and self-realization. She created a tool in her early 20s that has supported her in writing her dreams and staying aligned. She published Life Purpose Playbook in 2016. It's a journal and a holistic planner. Judy recently spent a year and a half consulting for a bean-to-bar chocolate company. She became infatuated with the spiritual story and significance of cacao and wholeheartedly connected to the power of this heart-opening, consciousness-raising plant medicine. Judy worked intimately with a shaman to deepen her connection with the plant and began to experience a deep relationship to this higher consciousness, receiving messages to share with the world. Cacao has exponentially accelerated her spiritual journey, and she now shares this sacred cacao with others to experience through daily ritual, ceremonies, and cacao consciousness. She also has a 16-day deep dive journey and cacao and wellness retreats in Peru and Azores. Judy includes cacao rituals in all her initiatives with her line of ceremonial cacao called Goddess Temple Cacao. This is in Toronto. Judy's purpose is to support others in raising their consciousness, which includes daily rituals of powerful sacred cacao master plant medicine. As I said, Judy is an author of a Life Purpose Playbook, creator of Goddess Temple Cacao, and she's also a consciousness coach and mentor. You can learn more about private coaching and private ceremonies with Judy on her website, Cacao Goddess Temple. Without further ado, let's skip ahead and I'll introduce her to you.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Integration Station. I'm Naturally Ashley, your host, and I've got a wonderful guest here, Judy. Some of you have maybe met her before, maybe done the quick coffee challenge, or just checked her out for cacao, as in products or ceremonies. She's into a whole bunch of stuff. And I was also even sending out recently, I know you've been getting into more of the spiritual business realm and like money magic and stuff too. So I've been sharing some of that you've been up to. So yeah, you guys, if you're in our group already, go check them out if you haven't already. But regardless if you're there or not, you're going to learn so much from this wonderful woman today. So without further ado, I'll pass her over to you. She can give an intro and let us know what she's been up to in her own words.
Oh, Ashley, thank you. It's so beautiful and juicy to be in your beautiful energy once again. Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you. And your beautiful community. It's, it's so beautiful to be part of it, to feel it, to see the magic that's being created, the changes that are happening. And I'm just so grateful for everything that you do. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to have another gorgeous discussion with you today.
Yeah, honestly, it's my pleasure every single time. There's so much value that you have to share. There's so much that you've been through already, so much that you've seen and learned on your own. It's just, the perfect outlet, I think, to really start sharing more entrepreneurs like yourself that are really coming from a heart-centered place and doing great work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So my journey started really with the cacao journey is what I'd love to share with all of you, because I've been on a beautiful journey of awareness and spirituality, and then cacao came into my life. And it came into my life because my brother-in-law was out in Peru with the Shipibo Canibo tribe, and he was experiencing ayahuasca for his first time, 14 days out there, and came back completely transformed and just so a gorgeous expression of love and light. And so many transformations came to him, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And he was talking about cacao, and there were cacao trees everywhere on the land. And the Shipibo Canibo tribe were talking about how cacao is a plant medicine. And he came to me, and we started to talk about this. And there was some beautiful remembrance in me, and an incredible reverence that it just like went. It was this remembrance and reverence that came up, even though I'd never heard of that before. And yes, I love chocolate, but it was like, oh, this is interesting. There's some kind of familiarity here, and I'm so curious. And I started to drink the cacao every day. And my story today that I'd love to share again and even go deeper with you, and thank you, Ashley, again for this, is to really share what I like to call the magic carpet ride that can happen. And again, I really only speak to my experience with the cacao. That is the one, plant medicine that I have connected with so deeply. So it's really the only one that I can really speak to and share so passionately with so much reverence what has happened through my journey, my story, what's happened through those in my life who've been also a part of this. And what's possible for you. And it's all about connecting with our heart, opening up our heart in ways we cannot even imagine. And then this beautiful plant medicine is here really to sprinkle into our awareness some other perspectives around some of our stories, some of our beliefs, some of our conditioning, which is so subconscious that we don't even realize, like this is such a strong belief of mine. And because I'm not open to, expanding or perhaps changing this belief, this becomes my reality ongoing. I just keep repeating these sort of events and outcomes because this is my belief. Whereas the cacao sprinkles into our awareness with our hearts so open these other beautiful perspectives, so that with that heart open, more compassion, more love, more kindness, we can actually look at it versus dismiss it as, no, that's not my belief, and just see that other perspectives exist and bring us into a place of more expansion and understanding that we're here on a journey, a bigger journey than what we think is really our truth. So anyway, it's been absolutely beautiful. I'm excited today to talk about different journeys, the Dieta journey, which is journeying even deeper with this beautiful medicine for periods of time. I'm excited to talk about, for those who are hearing the calling, who are thinking, wow, I'd love to share this with my community, how that works, and sharing my story, how that started. I'm excited to talk, about business and about all of these beautiful ways that we can really come from our hearts, come from our center of really valuing ourselves first and foremost. Who are we, and what are we here? What is our experiences and our contribution that we can share? Because sometimes we get in this place of not really feeling like, oh, I can't charge for that, and sort of coming into this place of value and then expressing so many other beautiful, in so many beautiful ways, including rituals, which we'll talk about later too.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dive in. Let's go right to the beginning, the heart of it. What's important for us to know if we're even gonna, work with chocolate or cacao in this way, right? Because chocolate is everywhere. Most women specifically are addicted to it. We almost need it for that magnesium and energy boost come 6 o'clock.
And iron for our monthly time, right? It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those top cravings. And, I think one of the main things to point out here is that while the ingredient cacao is in chocolate, it is still quite different. And working with it and this energy in these ways really can be life-changing when you give it the respect and reverence that is deserved. So how do we go about this? Just changing it up, you know, bringing more intention. How do we source the right stuff?
Yes. Oh my goodness, there's so many beautiful things. There's one, it's the type of cacao that you're drinking. First, we'll talk about ceremonial cacao. And then, like you said, the intention, the reverence. Everything changes when we are present and we bring intention. And with these plant medicines, they just want us to speak to them directly. They're waiting for us to speak to them. Sometimes we think, well, who am I? I'm going to go to a ceremony. Somebody, you know, whoever's facilitating will help me and will do their thing and I'll just follow. And that's beautiful too. That's very, very, very important. And for those of you who are here in the calling, it's actually communicating with these medicines directly. They're waiting for us because that's why they're calling us, is to guide us. I really believe, you know, many of these medicines, up until really 10 years ago or a little bit more, they were really calling mostly to shamans and certain conscious teachers who were in a vibration and frequency where they were ready to receive these higher teachings. They were ready to respect these higher teachings because a lot of it's beyond our box, right? So a lot of it is like, what? Huh? So if we're not ready to respect, we're not in this frequency to be like, okay, wait, this is interesting. What's coming to me? This is not what I'm used to. Can I sit with this in my heart versus immediately dismiss it as ridiculous? Or, you know, again, we don't know what we don't know, right? As we expand, there's so much more to expand into. And that's what these plants
This is a fast culture too, like we were talking about before this show, right? Like sitting there, sitting with it, that might be the most hardest part of it all. You know, that's like asking somebody who's never meditated to meditate.
Yes. And I'm so glad you brought that up because so many people come to, I've noticed as I host cacao ceremonies, people will come to one ceremony and next week they're hosting their own ceremonies. And it's, you know, even in my heart right now, I just feel it's so important that everybody feels their heart. Slow down. The medicines are here calling to you and no one else but you. They want to work with you. They want to journey with you. They want to take you into this expanded space. They want you to experience them as a beloved. They want you to speak to them. They want you to hear, surrender, and receive from them messages. And then, if the time is right and if the medicine wants you to do this, you will receive messages from the medicine directly on how to do this, how to support your community. But we're always in a rush, whereas the most beautiful part is actually the journey and connecting with this medicine, connecting with these beautiful medicines and speaking to them. And I remember, you know, in the beginning, I also didn't know what that meant. You know, I didn't know, what do you mean talk to this medicine? It's like sometimes talking to God. What do I say to God? I'm just gonna ask God a question when I need help. That's what most of us, or most people, were conditioned to do, right? Oh God, please bring me this. I really need this. Or, you know, plant medicines or angels or guides. When we can create, and now is the time to create a relationship, a beloved relationship, where we can speak to them, where we can share everything that's on our heart, where we can just literally peel the onion as we speak to them and share and talk to them about what's going on, what am I feeling right now, this thing just happened, here's what I'm feeling, and then asking, you know, I'm ready, take me into a deeper understanding of what I'm feeling right now. Because again, when we ask, we receive. We live in a world of free will. And these beautiful spirits, I think we talked about last time, are just so giddy. They're like, wait, they're like up there going, oh my God, she's got the cup in her hand. She's ready to ask. Yes. And then they're like, oh, she didn't ask. She just drank. You know, she didn't ask me anything. And it sounds silly, but literally there's this friendly and happy and loving and giddy and childlike. They want us to experience this. And because we've become so stiff, right? And we become so, oh my God, I'm not worthy to speak to these medicines. And that is a beautiful place to be in.
Yeah,
I remember being in that place.
Yeah, yes. A lot of that is our cultural programming too. Paul Stamets said something and I repeated it to my mom and she said, oh, they teach you that like right in psychology class or something, some course that she had taken previously. She's like, I learned that in the first 3 months. But I was like thinking that this is like news that is just emerging. But I guess like what Paul Stamets had said, was that a lot of these psychoactive plants, frogs, and fungi were used traditionally as religion. Like it wasn't new news that these were how you would talk to God, that this was what we used for communion. This is who we do communion with. But then religion was formed, and religion said, we're going to come between you and God. And so that's why he was specifically talking about alcohol, Paul Stamets, about why that was the psychoactive components were taken out of the alcohols. So now there's this missing component. That's why it's taking the essence out like a tincture would, right? You know, it takes the essence out of the plant, but there's nothing there to refill the body afterwards. So that's maybe why demonic entities come in. And if you want to talk straight spirituality here, which, you know, if you're into religion, that may be something really cool to look into. I just wanted to add that in there, Judy, because it is true. I think that you know, there is beings that come through that, you know, there is a type of communication. Sometimes it is with real words. Sometimes it's with something beyond words, more like feelings or these other senses that we're just starting to remember how to use, you know, and I think that that's beautiful that you bring this to light. So yeah, thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, beautiful. That was just such a beautiful segue. And yeah, such a beautiful realization that, again, there is so much responsibility and honor in sharing these medicines with others. And I love that you said that, because so many people, again, will come to one ceremony and next week they're hosting their own, when you're right, there are entities that can come through. There's trauma that can happen with certain people in the circle. There's things, how do we open, how do we close a ceremony? How do we protect the space? You know, all of this stuff, that there is great responsibility and there's great honor. And that, all of that will come through you from the medicine. This is what's beautiful. It will come through you the more you sit with it. Everything you need to know, to when you're ready, you will receive the answer when you're ready. For those who are listening today and feel like they're being called to share this, it's just so beautiful that it'll just come through. Of course it's going to come through. These are teachers. These are master teacher plants. So they're going to teach us and guide us all the way, instead of thinking, well, okay, maybe I should take this thing over here, or I should learn this thing, or go to this other person's ceremony and learn this, or whatever.
Sometimes that's all overthinking it. It's like, just get back to the basics of communication, of love, like love for the spirits that are talking to you and guiding your way, and love for yourself, of, you know, stopping the overthinking and just allowing yourself to finally receive, you know.
And that's in the stillness, right? And that, again, I'm just going to go back to my story. That's all I know, and I don't want to share anything else that really hasn't worked for me. But with me, it was in the stillness, just like you said. It's in the stillness that we hear the guidance. So for me, it was every day drinking the cacao, every morning, a ritual.
This wasn't just one day, one ceremony.
No, exactly.
This is a practice.
A year and a half drinking, speaking, connecting with her as I'm making her, staring at the surface. It's so hypnotic, the design.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. I love the designs that come through from that.
Taking the time. It's like, oh, wow. And just being in that space of nothingness.
And that's just in the preparation.
Yes. Right. And you will only know and be in awe, which is what we are, until you experience it. I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing that you wish to experience? Who doesn't want to be in this energy of awe, this frequency of awe? And that is what the cacao is taking us into. And it's so beautiful that that's how it starts. And then for me, when I started to drink the cacao every day, I had this incredible remembrance and this reverence. And so I was like, oh my God, can I drink this every day? I don't even know is it safe to drink every day? Went online, couldn't really find a lot of information about 4 or 5 years ago, but kept asking. And that was a good thing for me, that there wasn't a lot of it, because I was like, where am I going to find this? Okay, let me ask the cacao, can I drink you every day? How much can I drink every day? And starting to receive guidance, starting to drink her every day, starting to talk to her. It took a while, because at first I would just drink without speaking to her because I felt uncomfortable, didn't know what to do. But it just came to me slowly every day. Something's happening in my heart. So I started to just communicate with her silently as I had her in my hand and I was drinking. And then that grew, and then messages came through, and then more of a communication, and then this incredible beloved relationship, like just this beautiful relationship. And at any moment, being able to connect with her and not necessarily now needing the cacao with me. And that we come to this place where we can do this, where we can have the spirits with us all the time, and everything in baby steps, right? It's enjoying this experience every day with her. And from there, soon after enjoying her every day, I also got excited and I wanted to share in my ceremonies. I was already hosting circles for women, and I immediately wanted to share, and thankfully I knew to ask. I just felt to ask, I just felt to ask cacao. I'm so excited. I have another circle coming up. I would like to host a ceremony. And I kept hearing, no, not a ceremony. You can call it a cacao blessing or cacao circle, and you'll share the tea first. That was just for me. Everybody's different, but this was, for some reason, the cacao was saying to me, if you're going to share it as a blessing or a circle, and it's just and have the cacao tea, which is a little bit lighter than the actual cacao paste or powder mix. And that's how you can share that you're in this process of journeying and communing with the cacao, and share your story up until now, and share a blessing. And I kept doing that for about a year until I'm drinking every day, connecting, getting these incredible transformations, affirmations, experiences, expansion, letting go of beliefs, accepting new ones, just this beautiful journey that I now felt, and also the teachings and the wisdom around the cacao and the story that now when I was ready, when I heard the yes, now you're ready to host cacao ceremonies, I felt so confident. Confident meaning, and it wasn't even a confidence, it was just a knowing. It was just
the time's here.
Yeah, and sitting around everybody, not being nervous, versus before, when you don't know something very well, you're like, you're nervous. So that's again why, because it's this feeling of ease that the medicines want us to experience first and then to share. And so this is why it's just been so beautiful to share in this way, to share this story with others, because I find, especially in my cacao ceremonies that I host, many people are coming in and saying, I want to start hosting, and sharing this story with them so that they can also resonate. Perhaps if they're not already speaking with the cacao, that is step number one, communing, creating that beautiful relationship with her. And then step number two is the magical dieta, right? Which many people who are listening to this right now are familiar with it, and some may not be. But the dieta is a beautiful journey, a commitment that we will make with the plant medicine, any plant medicine, where we're going to journey deep, a profound, deep journey with the medicine through drinking every day. Sometimes it's a certain amount depending on the medicine. Sometimes there's social settings, lack thereof, or certain settings, diet or food, certain food restrictions or not, because all food have consciousness. So the medicines want specific foods to be in or out of that process, just so that there's no distractions, the other consciousnesses, all these things that happen. And we go through this profound teachings and wisdom in that period of time, however long that period of time is that you set. And again, that's a very important part of when we're ready, when we want to share this with others. Have we experienced those profound journeys ourselves? That is so important. These plant medicines are calling on so many of us now. We started this conversation talking about how, there was a time not too long ago where it was mostly shamans and conscious teachers, people who are at a certain frequency, and it still is. If the cacao is calling to you, you're at a certain frequency where you're ready to get to that next paradigm shift, to that next level of understanding and awareness, that next level of expansion. And it's also important that we experience that. They're here to help us as medicine, to open up our heart. Especially cacao is here for our heart opening, for our heart healing.
Yeah, these things, they weren't for everybody all the time. They were very much for a select few people that got downloads. Now, this being said, there's definitely way more people on the planet than there was then. But like, even though the people who were, in charge of healing their community, they would be taking the medicine for them. They weren't giving it to the person who needed the healing. They were taking it for the downloads so that they knew how to help that person heal themselves without the medicine. Yeah. There was these types of structures put in place, and now, it seems a lot of psychoactive plants like chocolate or cacao, but, in chocolate form, and same with the coffee, it's very much been changed, and other ones were demonized and taken completely out of our diets, and some were put in abundance and adding in other, additives that maybe mess with that message quite a bit. It's obviously the opposite of a dieta when you're having it with milk and sugar and whatever else they're putting in. I don't know, things to make it glossy, and probably propylene glycol because they put that stuff in everything. But it really is important because, as you said, our food does have its own intelligence and it has its own memory. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about this, but we're going to cut to commercial break because I know we could go on and on. But we'll cut for now, Judy. We'll have you right back, okay? Yes. Bye.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back. So we're just talking a bit about dietas here with the cacao goddess, Judy. I'm going to pass back over to her and can continue the conversation.
Thank you. Yes. I was just sitting here thinking, again, it's the presence, right? It's being still in the moment and just feeling so much gratitude for being here with you, having this conversation with everyone listening who's sitting also in their stillness of participating and being present, and which is a journey into our hearts. And that's what's more important than anything right now, I really truly believe. And it's I just wanted to acknowledge that, because we're all right now in this moment taking the time to sit in our heart, to journey back to our hearts. And that is the journey that we are all taking to that final remembrance, right? And it's just so beautiful. So yes, and back to the cacao, that's really what the cacao helps us to do, is to take more moments throughout the day to acknowledge the beauty that's around us, that we are, the beauty that is around us, the beauty that we are, and to be in this space of, we talked about this awe-inspiring frequency, right? And so when I find with the cacao, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about, okay, what happens? What do I do? I have this cacao now. What do I do? You're probably asking that question, anyone listening to this podcast, and it's very much, it sort of grows. I found, if I can share again, sort of my experience and where I've come from, also not knowing what to do in the very beginning, except just sitting with her and speaking to her and having the messages come through. And as we mentioned before about the cooking the cacao and observing the surface as being such a pivotal part for me in the slowing down, loving the stillness and receiving from the stillness, is in the cooking of the cacao. We talked about that. And then also once we pour the cacao, and we have it in front of us and sitting wherever, it could be 2 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be whatever you wish to experience, however much time, quote unquote time that you have. But again, it's just the slowness, the stillness. And I found the cacao helps us to realize that the stillness is a superpower, that we don't have to be moving around, doing stuff all the time to be productive, to be successful, to any of that old paradigm stuff, that actually when we go the opposite, that we can receive more because we're in the stillness and the flow. And so I found the cacao really helped me to just sit. And it was like a little beautiful ritual. I used to call things routines. And now I like to turn them into rituals, because the word ritual is just so light and so has magic in that word. Routine kind of seems like work to me. And so especially something as beautiful as this, working with a master plant medicine and not even really working with her, but playing with her, connecting with her and sitting with her in this space of just, you don't even know what to do yet? Great. Just look at her. You don't need to know what to do or what to say. You just need to be, because there's more that you can hear in the stillness than you can in words. And so everything is happening energetically. We are an expression of source energy. We are an individuation of, this infinite intelligence. So we are it. We can hear it without having to speak. And what I found is just the being sort of, again, I call it lost in love in the cacao. So I'm looking at the surface and I'm just getting lost in the surface, in what I'm now starting to see as different layers of the cacao. We start to see, honestly, this is a reflection of what's going on outside of us, seeing the different layers or the veils. And that's what happens here. At first you think, oh, it's just the cacao. But then when you actually every day start to sit with her in stillness and just observe in silence for a few moments, you can start to see different layers, a layer of what looks like water, a layer below that of what looks like soil or earth, a layer below that of what looks like water again. And you're just going, oh my, like that awe of, wow, how did I not see that a few weeks ago? And it's just, again, opening us up to seeing more of what has always been there. But sometimes we're not sort of, maybe we're just not ready to see it, or we're just sort of busy and moving around really quickly. We don't see it. We don't have the time to see it. But
if you're getting a hot chocolate from Tim Hortons or something here in Canada, there's a lid they don't even let you see.
Yes, so true. So true. Oh my goodness. And so this connection is beautiful. And then making it a morning ritual. It doesn't have to be morning for you. For me, it was morning. Is beautiful, because in the morning is when you're about to start your day, and the cacao has so many beautiful components within it, which help us expand our creativity. It expands us into a place of almost like a cosmic creativity, and it's phenomenal in the morning, for me, especially before I go do my work, or I'm working on a project, or I'm going to write something, it's just such a beautiful way of connecting with the cacao, opening up, and then also maybe even intending with her and asking, I'm about to do this thing, I'm about to write this email to my beautiful community, come through me. Come through me. I'm going to set aside my ego and come through me and bring to me what myself and everyone in this beautiful community, what would be of the most value and so beautifully expansive in this moment today to share with them. And when we ask, we receive. And at first we may think, well, nothing happened. I hear that a lot. Well, nothing happened. And what I like to say is, if we actually go into the real true belief and remembering of who we are, that we are part of these expressions, we are individuations of infinite intelligence. There are things always happening. So is it possible that we could just accept the possibility that it is happening, but maybe I'm just not aware of it yet, or I'm not open to it yet, or I have doubt, which is creating a block? Am I open to the possibility that it actually is happening, but that I'm going to start to learn to just relax my conditioning around, I don't know if I can trust that it's going to come to me. I never get messages. This was me, 4 years ago. I'm not intuitive. I never get messages directly from source. I always have to go to other people. I know that conversation very well, because that was me. And in having that conversation with the cacao, even just sharing, why is it that I feel this way, cacao? Why is it that I feel like I never receive? And just sitting with it. And sometimes I felt too, like, oh, I got nothing. But every day coming back to my beautiful moment, my beautiful few moments of being with her, drinking and sitting and listening in quiet stillness. And eventually it wasn't like it just came. It was just this knowing. It was this knowing that, oh, it's the doubt. And how can I relax the doubt? How can I at least open up to the possibility that it is actually happening to everybody, that everybody has this capability? And then asking the cacao, how can you help me to release whatever it is I'm holding on to, or to open me up to experience this? That's really what it is. It's just asking simple questions like this. And then we start little by little, receiving, expanding. Everything happens in baby steps. And the reason why it happens in baby steps is so that we can learn to enjoy the journey, because it's the journey that's so beautiful. And the integration of the baby steps is so important too. Because if we went from like, oh, I'm never intuitive, to, oh my God, I just had a premonition of what's going to happen next month and this and this and this, like, we wouldn't be able to handle that.
Yeah, there's no foundation.
No foundation, what the ego would do with that. It has to happen and be integrated into our body, into our cells, into our being, into our heart. And how truly, lucky? How truly fortunate and lucky and beautiful it is that these medicines are calling to us. That's what I literally have this moment just about every day, being in awe of. This medicine has called to me and has helped me in ways I cannot even imagine, to feel so safe and loved and understood and purposeful and fulfilled in today's world of perceived chaos everywhere. Who doesn't want that, right? Instead of getting caught in the, oh man, this is happening in the world. Is this going to happen? I'm scared. Versus, oh, I see that it's actually perceived. And what does that even mean?
And it's just one perception.
Yes, it's one perception.
There are many. There's so many people. And if enough of us, I think, got together with some new visuals, this would be a way different world. It's already happening. I truly do believe that.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And it starts with us, right?
Yeah.
Learning that deepness, journeying, experiencing that incredible, and I love the word communion, which you also said at the beginning too. It's really what it is. It's a devotion. It's a communion. It's a knowing. It's a benevolence. that for me in the beginning was like, oh, I never really felt like I brought benevolence to anything, or communion to anything, or devotion even. I never used that word. When it's like, wow, when you actually sit with those words, you can't help but have your heart explode open, even if you're not even sure what you're communing with.
Incredible how many words there are for love.
Yeah, right. And like, to sit with that, I love that you're saying that, because that excites me so much to be like, let's, obviously maybe not right now, but to have a side conversation, or to sit with, what are those words? Let me sit with each of those words. How do they make me feel? Versus, oh, I'm tired, let me just watch Netflix or whatever else I'm gonna, do now, because I just want to check out for the evening because I've had a big day.
I hear that all the time. Oh, it's just background noise. It's just to quiet my brain at the end of the day. It's like, whoa.
Right.
What are the alternatives? Come on, give me some of those.
Which you just said, like, imagine sitting with the, hundreds of words to describe love and this expansion, and just feeling them one by one in your heart. Like, what is that going to do for you? And what happens when it expands our frequency? And when we expand our frequency, we attract things in that new frequency. So you have a whole new reality that you're living. And how exciting is that? Don't we all want, we're all humans, and we're here to evolve, to continue to grow. And when we stop having new goals or intentions or visions, then we're actually dying, because we're just like, oh, I'm okay with, what's going on. So we're here to have that new expression. And I guess we're going to talk in a minute also about money and this sort of constant expansion of it being a beautiful thing, because there's more resources and there's more to help. But coming back to this, it's this feeling of when we're doing things that are helping us to expand our frequency, our heart, then our reality keeps changing. And it keeps changing into a place of more love. Being more love, experiencing more love, less of the crazy chaos and the other perceptions that are out there, and more of your love. That's what you see. It's so beautiful. And it's interesting. One of the things that, one of the visualizations I've been having a lot recently, I love visualizing before I go to bed. This, even though I'm madly in love with my life right now, at the same time visualizing an even bigger expression of my life, sort of balancing these two beautiful things that I do at night. And one of the things I love to do is during my visualization at night is to, I see myself in my career, I see myself in my business, I see myself in my family, and then I also see myself doing my day-to-day things, going to the grocery store, walking down my neighborhood, and every single person is looking at me with eyes that are glowing. They're so happy. We wave. I don't even know half these people, strangers. And I'm just like, waving at everybody, and everyone's waving back. Everyone is so happy. Every single neighbor has in front of their house a box of something. This person has a grapevine and they're giving away grapes to whoever wants. This person has tomatoes in the back and they're giving away grapes at the front of their house to whoever wants. People passing by, strangers, neighbors, doesn't matter. And I'm seeing this. And it's amazing. When I really started to do that actively, I started to go out and I started to notice people. More people were saying hello to me or waving at me before I even waved at them or said hello to them, to the point where I was like, do I know that person? Okay, wait a minute. Do I know that person? Because it was like, what? It was happening so fast. It was being created so quickly in my reality because I was visualizing it from that place of love. And I really, truly believe, like you said, it's different perceptions that are out there, right? Yes, there are people who are very afraid still right now, and for various their own reasons. But then there's also people who are just bouncing around life, seeing and all they see is love, and it's being reflected back to them. So it's so beautiful. And maybe we can segue a little bit right now, because this visualization came to me when I started to work even more, bring more of my daily presence to this concept of, or not even a concept, to this reality that money loves us. And if it's okay now, Ashley, now to just sort of segue into this conversation of money, unless you have.
Well, there was one thing I just wanted to say first, because it has to do with it. Like how you were saying, you know, sometimes people come in, they'll hire you for a cacao ceremony, and then they go out and then they want to make their own business right away. And I see this in the mushroom world. You know, it happens with a lot of different plant medicines too. And the way that I'm starting to see it, or a download that has been coming through since this conversation with you today, is that it's very much like a mountain. You really can't skip those steps, because if you climb a mountain too fast, what happens? You run out of breath. You know, your body literally can't take it. Sure, you can chew a bunch of coca if you want to, but guess what? That's a different type of plant medicine you have to get used to. And this is a metaphor, so it doesn't count.
But it's so true. I love it. Yeah.
I had to add it in there. But, you know, you do need to go through these levels. And what happens when you hire a Sherpa to bring you to Everest is that the Sherpa brings you up a level, right? So you have somebody, a guide that's taking you. You go up a level, you come back down. Then you go up a little bit further, then you come back down. There is this process. You don't just run and climb up the mountain.
No.
You know, it maybe that's where all the cacao is, or all the gold, or whatever, but you can't rush it, or you're not going to know what to do with it, and you may end up in a situation where things are out of your control and you don't know how to deal with that, and that may possibly harm somebody else. So we need to be careful that, yes, these are medicines that are helping a lot of people, but if you're coming into the more practitioner role, it's good to be building these relationships with the medicines first. It's not just a once run off the passion. It's great to feel that playful energy. It's great to feel passionate. It's great to find something that you love and that helps you feel better. But it's very, very important that you find somebody that you trust, has been working with these things a long time, a lot longer than you, and always have that mentor. You know, I've had many in my life, ones for specific medicines, but where I really found my place was in the integration world, and I had a mentor for that too, and it didn't even exist. But guess what? I found somebody, the best person for me.
Amazing. It's always out there, right? When you're ready and you want. Yes.
Yeah, so I did want to add that in because I think it's really important. But yes, Judy, we can move into the other stuff, because I know that there's a lot here that's going to help a lot of people who are in that practitioner role or working their way up to that.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that back, because I would like to say one more thing about that as well. When someone comes to me and says, okay, this is amazing, I now want to, host a ceremony, I guide them through exactly this magnificent, beautiful journey that I went through, which was experiencing the dietas first. So part of my practitioner training, cacao ceremony practitioner facilitator training that I host, step one is a dieta. Because in my opinion, it is the most important part before sharing anything in any way, any medicine, any heart-opening medicine that comes from a sacred consciousness, is you experiencing it first. And so that is why I have
fully. You're not going to get the full experience if you have caffeine in your system and sugar and other things, or if you're tied on your cell phone consistently and have never taken a break. Your mind's not going to be in the right place, your energy is not going to be in the right place. It really is a value, whether you're working with the medicine or not, to look into what a dieta may mean. And different medicines do come with different things. Different practitioners do have different recommendations.
Yeah, it's all different. And again, I do mine a little different too when I'm holding space for the dieta with somebody.
Yeah, please give me an example of yours.
Yes, a beautiful example, which I love so much, and it's just been transformational for people. And again, I go back to me in the beginning. I was like, I don't know what to say to the medicine. What do you mean I should say this whole big thing that's happening right now in my life to the medicine? I was like, I don't think I need to share all of that. And what I do when I hold a space for the dieta with anyone who wishes to take that journey is, during the dieta, we actually do have a very short call together with the group. So it's usually 6 people that I'll take together in a dieta in a group. And we actually share certain things that might be happening. And then the conversation is, okay, thank you for sharing, what you're feeling right now, or this thing that happened today, or whatever. Guess what you're going to share with the cacao tonight? And they're like, but why do I need to share? Well, why did you share it with me? Right? It's everything that's coming through, because sometimes we don't realize, well, what should I share? What shouldn't I share? And the dieta is the most incredible space for you to journey even deeper with her by speaking even more to her and by asking for even more, because you've opened up this intention and this portal of diving deeper with her. And there's more is going to happen in terms of more teachings, more lessons, potentially even triggers that'll show up, because different perceptions are going to show up. You're going to be like, why did this person text me this? I'm so angry. Oh, I'm on the dieta. Isn't this interesting how this happened? Isn't it? So
it becomes synchronicity instead of like a pity party. Why is this happening to me now? It's like, oh, there's a lesson in here. What am I going to learn from this? It becomes more curiosity and excitement to just move through it, because so often, like, I'm the queen of procrastination. I am the most successful procrastinator, because if I need to put something off, I will do everything else. And I mean everything, but these kinds of things, they really are, it's important. And it's important not to procrastinate it, or, give these plants the reverence that is deserved, give them the respect, because it will take you a lot further. And they'll help you see those things, like me with the procrastination, using your weaknesses as an asset, or your handicap as an asset.
Yeah, so true. So beautiful. And so, yeah, that is for me the most exciting part about the dieta, which I call the deep dive. And it's in me holding space and helping people to understand each day a little bit. Oh, okay. Because they're ready to share stuff with me. They're like, ready. Oh my God. And then this happened. Okay. Guess what you're now going to say to the cacao? And they're like, what? Everything I just shared. Yes. Everything you just shared. And then, so it helps them to go, oh. So by the time we're on day 3, 4, 5, 6, there's less. First of all, there's less that needs to be shared with me. And there's more that needs to be shared with the cacao. Everything could be shared with the cacao, because all the answers are going to come from the cacao. And versus our conditioning that, no, I need to talk to the facilitator here. She's going to tell me, or so-and-so is going to tell me. And that was my experience anyway, was when I started.
One of the things too of like passing away power, right? Yes. In the pharmaceutical industry, or like the medical system, right? It's like, I want the magic pill, or the fix-all, or I need to talk to a doctor about that. It is so much part of the programming in schools. I need to talk to the teacher about that. I'm going to ask Google, in today's world. But what about asking consciously, the vessel that you're using to get these answers for yourself, and this is about the recommunion with God, or our higher selves, or that collective conscious, whatever you want to call it. Most of the time I call it life. I've got these really crazy experiences talking to life, and life really does like to test me. So.
Yes, it's so great. And that's why, again, the dieta is like this container where you set an intention, where you're like, okay, I agree that there probably will be things happening more than normal in this container, in this time and space. It's going to be teachings and lessons. So you're even more aware. And then after that's done, you can carry on that, oh, wait a minute. It's actually not just in the container. It continues on in life if I'm actually open. Yeah. And it just opens us up. It's such a magnificent experience.
I think that's one of the best things about ceremony too, in general, is that it teaches you how to be ceremonial in all areas of your life. What you were saying about like routine being boring, or, and then when you think about ritual, you're like, oh, this is peaceful, and it's got flow, and it's a purpose for everything that's there. Mm-hmm. That really is the self-mastery, but also, where these master teachings come from. They are there in the collective, and the more aligned we get to that, the more we're able to use these powers in our own life for our own healing, and then healing of others, or helping others learn how to do that for themselves.
Beautiful. They're helping us to render everything sacred again. Yeah. Right? Versus just
that's
one
profound.
Sacred, or that's it. Like everything, we start to see everything as sacred. It's again going back to that awe-inspiring frequency. And And it's this feeling of like, if we could just sit for a moment, all of us, and do this exercise of, what does your body feel like when you are awe-inspired? When you look at something and you are just in awe, feel that for a moment. Just feel like we're just like, we have to take a moment. We're just in this, we almost lose our breath in this moment of being awe-inspired. And that, as we know, as we study the layers of consciousness, the map of consciousness, David Hawkins put this beautiful map of consciousness together. And one of the levels is this level of enlightenment, the highest, and it's described as being ineffable, which means you can't, it's a word that's used when you can't describe something, ineffable. And it reminds me a lot of sort of this awe-inspired frequency where you're just like, you are back in the cosmos, remembering that you are the creator of this. You are part of creating this, and you're appreciating your creation, versus coming back into this conditioning of routine, zombies, doing everything, not really noticing things. And again,
angry, rah, rah.
Yeah, but that's been our experience. And that's part of the beautiful, that had to happen for us to experience awe-inspiring. Right? But the joy of experiencing that again.
Well, it brings the gratitude back into it too, right? Yeah, but they are different frequencies, right? You don't want to go back into that zombie mode where you don't have any gratitude for anything. And it's really hard to do when you're working with things like cacao and or doing microdoses and stuff, because you are an active participant in your journey of talking with these medicines. But I do know for, people who work with high doses of mushrooms or other medicines, or even go to a Tony Robbins convention, it's like, a week later, they're like, oh, I'm back in my same, right. Where did the gratitude go? This sucks. And I'm victim of that too. Victim. Not victim. I do it to myself. Take responsibility there, because that is the path to freedom. But I have fallen for those, getting back in those ruts too. And what changes it is coming back to that gratitude.
Yeah, the gratitude, exactly, the gratitude. And to remember the gratitude, it's funny, beautiful segue into ritual, right? Yeah. I kind of look at it as, back in ancient times, everything was ritualized. Like everything was a ritual. Everything was sacred. Everything was devotion. And there was
like a way of showing your gratitude, right? I love this and I'm going to do more for it. Like you would a lover.
Yeah, right. And so, I've got all this stuff happening in my mind as you're saying that. I'm like, no, hang on, come back, talk to this one thing, because it's so beautiful how expansive life gets when we're sitting in the space of gratitude and ritual. That is why this journey for cacao for me, in ritualizing, immediately when I heard of cacao and went through this sort of real remembrance and reverence and started to drink her every day and have this devotion every day. So it became a ritual, which then expanded me out to, oh my God, I wake up now, my yoga is a ritual and it's devotion. And, whatever it is, it just expands and expands and expands. And this concept of ritual, I've been bringing ritual quite a bit into my new relationship with money. And I want to start off by sharing again, when we're doing the work, when we are experiencing the devotion and the work, many teachers start to appear, the next step for us, right? The teachers or the whatever it is, that next step in evolution for us. And when I was drinking cacao, for me, it was a beautiful shaman who literally came into my life, fell into my lap within 3 weeks of hearing about this and studying and learning and trying to learn and drinking. And she shows up, and now working with her and doing some dietas with her and sitting in ceremony with her, and then helping her in the facilitation of her shamanic ceremonies first for about 6 months, like this beautiful, I mean, I'm just sitting here in this awe of how did I get so lucky, like so beautiful in this experience. But it'll show up when we're ready, we're committed, and we're dedicated. And so that journey happened, and about 6 or 7 months ago, I think it was, another beautiful beautiful soul came into my awareness. I have no idea how. I was trying to think the other day, how did this happen? Her name is Sarah McCrum, and she's a lady who has been channeling the energy of money for several years now. In fact, years ago, her business, went under, and she had this terrible failure that was devastating for her and her business. And she picked up a book and just started reading. It was about money, and she started writing. And it said what her hand or something. It was around money loves you. Money loves you. It's time to love her back, and all this. She started like channeling. It wasn't even her words, and she's like, "Oh my God, what's happening here?" And she realized it was the consciousness of money speaking to her and sharing with her some messages, which she received all these messages every night, writing, to the point where she did nothing with this in terms of not publishing it for several years, just like many of us are like, what is this? Who am I? I'm not a channeler. What is this? I'm not out of the spiritual closet. Like, all this stuff was going through her head. But then eventually published this book. Didn't tell anybody, didn't really tell anybody. Didn't tell her colleagues or anyone, because it's like, again, who am I? We all go through this. It's normal that we all go through these periods of, that was magnificent, but what if somebody, should question me, and who am I to channel? And what if, doubting, is this even real? And then after a few years of it being published, started to go back to the teachings and started to actually apply what money was telling her, and her whole world transformed. And now she has the honor and privilege of sharing her book. Her book is called Money Loves You. Love Money, Money Loves You, Sarah McCrum. It is phenomenal. And she went into this, she has this beautiful...
She's got freebies on her website too, by the way. I checked her out when I first heard from Judy how in love she was with this training.
Beautiful. And I'll tell you why it resonated so much with me. Because I had just spent 3.5, almost 4 years connecting with this magnificent consciousness, this spirit, cacao, learning to do that. Before that, I had, learning just by just showing up and talking to her.
That's
and receiving.
So important,
important. And then when I heard this woman saying that money is a consciousness and it's an energy of love and is so misunderstood, and so many people are afraid of her. And if you had a partner who's so afraid of you and says that all their problems is because of you and all this, would you want to go near them? So understanding this, and then I realized, okay, not only do I want to apply some of this work, I want to talk to the loving energy of money myself. I want to connect with her, just like I have been connecting with the cacao. I'm going to apply the same things I did with the cacao to now communicating and communing with this loving energy of money. And that's what I started to do. And that is how my whole world just started to change. And that is how I now share once a month. I also host a ceremony, which I had already been doing on my own with nobody else. I called it my Beautiful Money Monday ceremony, where every Monday, once a month, I would pull out this chart and just put my numbers in, acknowledge my numbers from last month, gratitude, appreciation. Then I would have a new column, prophesize what's going to happen in my next month. What would I like to prophesize for this type of service and this service and this service and this product? Prophesize it, then sit with that full prophecy and put it out there in a visualization. And this whole process, I was doing this for 1.5 years. And I kept asking the cacao, wow, is this something I can share with others? No. And then Sarah shows up in my life. I took her, one of her courses, one of her advanced courses, started communicating every single night, as I do with my visualization, speaking to the cacao, speaking to, for me, it's Mary Magdalene as well, speaking to, which is one of my beautiful guides, speaking now to the loving energy of money as well, sharing what it is that I would like to create, opening up to other possibilities that I'm not even aware of, that can't even see, just being this open vessel to help, that, yes, help me also to nurture, to rebirth a new relationship with her, a one of benevolence as well, respect, love, compassion, devotion, as I have been with cacao. And that was what was the beautiful game changer for me, was, I'm not just going to take these lessons that somebody's telling me worked for them and apply them. I'm going to connect with this beautiful consciousness as well. And that has been so, so beautiful. And it's in this journey, these last few months, where I've always been helping people and supporting and holding space through dietas, but more so getting extreme clarity. This is needed more than anything right now. Is Judy put a lot of focus, because I also do a lot of consulting and coaching work, less of that, more helping these people who are so excited, so passionate, hearing the calling, but there's just so much, they're just not used to being in the stillness, and they're not even sure how to communicate with the cacao. Help them through that process. Take them by the hand, help them through that, so that they can do this now, share with others when the cacao supports them and says they're ready, through a place of authenticity, love, experience, benevolence, relationship, having this communion with the plant. So this has been an incredible journey, and this can happen to anyone listening, is this extreme clarity of what's next. It just shows up. Sarah showed up in my life. I wasn't, on this sort of trajectory of really focusing on money, but or this shift around my perception of money, because it's all perceptions, right? But she showed up, and it was like, and I know, again, the cacao, the seed, the flower of life we drink, germinates inside of us, grows this flower of life inside of us, so we can be reborn into new possibilities, knowing that the cacao itself was once a currency. In certain places in the world, they use the seeds, the beads, the seeds as currency. So that was like, oh my God, there is an enormous connection between the cacao, the seeds, the drinking, the connection, and the loving energy of money, with this whole new shift on re-evaluating what we value in the world. Do we as a community, as a collective, value the environment the way it really needs to be valued? That whole rendering it sacred again. Do we even value ourselves as sacred? That needs to happen, right? This whole unworthiness of ourselves, especially in sort of the spiritual community of, I don't need to be, have a lot of money. I don't need to charge. I don't need to have a lot of money. When it's like the money, first of all, is an expression of value, and it's there. When we have more money, we have more resources. And what happens when we have more resources? We can help more people. And what happens when we
that help goes a lot further.
Yeah. When we help more people, they now can help more people. And the whole collective shifts. So it's this moving away from the old paradigm, which has been, as we talked about, sort of the patriarch, religion, even spirituality for a little bit, in terms of, you don't need to have a lot of money. No, don't focus on money. Focus on contribution only. And yet, the value, when we value what we're teaching here, what we are sharing, being like, when I look at cacao and I think, how can I help more? How many people right now in this world are ready right now and have booked their first hosting of the cacao ceremony without the dieta, because they don't even know the dieta?
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Sorry for the cutoff there, but I didn't want to be on screen being like, cut. I knew a commercial was coming, but it was just so good. And I hope for most of you, it kept you excited enough to stay tuned because Judy's back with more to share.
With more crazy passion and excitement, right?
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I love being in this frequency of just so much gratitude and so much passion. And I guess I feel this way because I just want nothing more than for everyone to experience what it's like to connect with a plant medicine, what it's like to receive guidance, to start to get so beautifully clear with your purpose, your passions, your direction, even when there is no direction, you know, at times where there might not be direction, just the stillness, all of that. And then we talked about the loving energy of money and my beautiful experience in taking the same way that I've connected with this magical plant medicine, Ceremonial Cacao, Mama Cacao, and bringing this into connecting with this beautiful, loving energy of money that has been so misunderstood, that really just wants nothing more than to love us and bring to us our desires. And what happens is some of us don't know what we want. We're the first to explain what we don't want. I don't want more of this. I don't want this to happen anymore. And I'm tired of this happening in my life. And I'm tired of this. But it's like, what is it we want? It's that beautiful ritual. And I talked about every night, this visualization ritual of just, you know, what's this magnificent future that I wish to experience, including what does humanity look like around me? You know, I talked about this visualization of seeing people around me when I go to the grocery store and everyone's so happy and friendly and helping each other. And that's what I'm looking forward to us expanding into. And the more we come together and spend time doing this, the more we create it, like you had mentioned in the beginning. And so, yes, this is just this beautiful, magical, I think I was saying right before the commercial was that I had started a monthly ceremony called Beautiful Money. And it was it was my own ceremony. I was doing it on my own every first Sunday of the month, because that's when I look at the last month and write in my numbers and update my numbers. And because again, whatever we're focused on, we bring more of. So if we actually know what our numbers are, and how many of us don't know what our numbers are? You know, years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't know what my numbers are, but I started to create in the last year and a half with cacao, a ritual out of it. And I turned it into a ceremony, and I would drink my cacao and, you know, same process, drinking, speaking to her, sitting in a little meditation, pulling up this chart, putting my numbers through with my incense, you know, and then asking the cacao, wow, it's incredible for me. Can I share this? No, not yet. And again, how beautiful is that? These medicines are helping us when we've experienced enough of these journeys that we're now in a place where we have a story, we have a transformation, we feel confident, we've gone through a transformation. And then all of a sudden, when I was starting, Sarah came into my life, Sarah McCrum, and I actually took her course, I invested in her course, was going through these incredible activations, this incredible work around where am I afraid of money? Where do I speak to her or not speak to her? Money, I'm referring to money as an energy, in a way where I'm afraid, or in a way where I'm, feeling guilty or blaming her, and just sort of re-looking at all of this. And I decided to take a lot of that work, a lot of her work, and turn it into my little ritual. So I added to my monthly ritual certain things, including an activation that I now do where I speak into the cacao tea. So I call it My Money Loves You Sacred Tea Ceremony. And so with tea, the cacao tea, speaking that monthly intention into the tea and then drinking. So that's been, that's one of the things that we do during this beautiful ceremony. And it's been a beautiful way to really take the conditioning, right? And it's something that we can't expect that's going to happen overnight. And even, Sarah, through her channeling, the loving energy of money, sharing the real understanding of what money is and why money's here. And in this shift, because everything in the world is always changing and growing and expanding, right? Look at technology, how it's expanding. Everything's always expanding. So money, this concept of exchange, is about to go through another huge transformation. What is that going to look like? I don't know. Do some people know? Maybe some people know, but some people, it's a matter of just knowing that there's a big transformation happening. And in that transformation comes this these valuing certain things now, including valuing ourselves, really, especially in our spiritual communities, where it's like, oh, I don't, we go through this whole, and this is normal. We go through, a lot of the ego, the lower sort of vibrations, to a spiritual awakening, and oh, it's not about me, and it's about helping, and I want to help, and I don't need the money. Back into, it's not about the money, but I know that the money brings more resources, and now we can help more people, and we can live a life of abundance, because that's our birthright. Everything in this planet, our earth, Pachamama, is abundant. It has more food that can grow on this earth. I don't know what the statistic is, 50 times over for the amount of humans that are there. It's just not being distributed properly. So there's all of this beautiful understandings that come from that are in her book. I highly recommend her book, which is the channelings, again, of the energy of money, because it's a real understanding of, people in this world right now who are sort of, quote unquote, sort of at the helm of the world and society, are telling us things that are not true. Like, there are big issues on this planet environmentally, like all of this stuff, when really everything is abundant. If we focus on the abundance of everything that is already there versus, oh, there's a problem here, then we're creating more of the problem. It's like, again,
those who find the problem are often trying to sell the solution.
Yes, exactly. And this energy of money is saying, anyone who's telling you there's a problem, there is no problem. All there is abundance.
They have a problem.
Focus on the abundance.
And
yes.
Maybe it's their responsibility to fix it without bleeding other families dry or causing so much fear that people are, unable to feel the energy that they need to manifest that abundance or to even live life to their fullest.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I wrote this thing, Judy, I want to share with you just recently. Let me see if I can get it up. I did it on Canva because my mentor, he would make acronyms for everything. He always laughed and said, that's how I made it through medical school. I had an acronym for everything.
Memory, I love it.
So he shared one with me, well, more than once, enough that he drilled it into my head. And it was that fear, essentially, is that false evidence that appears real. And so I made one just recently as I was meditating on this. I was actually working with Amanita Muscaria last week leading into the new moon. It was a new medicine for me, and this was the message that came through, is that if we're going to go with the acronyms, faith is functional affirmations and images that are hardwired. So,
faith.
Yes. So yeah, functional affirmations and images that are hardwired. And in Napoleon Hill in like 1920s was talking about this, that affirmations are the only way to actually cultivate faith. So these, 1%ers are somehow using frequencies like radio and TV and things like that to instill fear, the false evidence that appears real, through images that are then being hardwired in through the repetition. But we can easily change this for ourselves by cultivating faith in the such things that we want, like visualization practices, like working with medicine and tapping into these ancient frequencies that, are out of this world, quite literally.
Wow, Ashley, that's incredible.
I knew you would appreciate it.
I love this. This is so beautiful. Wow. So deep, like has even deeper layers than, even I'm sitting here going, wow, I want to sit with this because I know there's even more deeper layers that are coming through this. This is worthy of sitting with again. I'm going to come back to this section. Maybe you'll even cut this little section, make this a reel on Instagram so that people can hear this again and again, what you just read. Because that's
my doubt, is it worthy of sharing? Like, I didn't put it out, right? Like, I made it into Canva, but I didn't share that. I still have to sit on it.
Yeah. But even that's beautiful that you're acknowledging.
Yeah.
And it's so deep. Somehow it came through you, somehow, whether it's from you, through somehow. And it's so deep that even you want to sit with it. And that's beautiful that you haven't put it out yet. Some people would just be like, oh, amazing. Here we go. Yeah. But they haven't really sat with it. And I love that you've just kind of brought it full circle into this came through. It was deep. I still don't even, I'm acknowledging there's even more here to sit with and to expand into. And I'm going to take the time. I'm going to sit in this journey of sitting with this because, yes, that's the journey. That's more important is you expanding into it and understanding it.
Yeah, and it really came out because the opposite of fear would be faith. They do say the opposite of fear is love, but that love, it's faith and love that allows that to be. And if faith is what we build up through the affirmations in our mind, then I think it is of more value to make sure that what we are telling ourselves is of value. Those words of love or those sacred words of empowerment. I wrote a whole page of them in my Be the Change book, very similar to how you and I were just discussing the love words, because I was like, if people are saying stuff to themselves all the time, including myself, don't I need a list of these words so I can change the patterning?
Change what you're saying.
Much a different fractal of that, that we're coming into together here. So.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry if I took it off subject, but I did. Yeah, I felt the gateway and the trigger there. Oh, maybe it was.
I love that. I'm actually sitting in a little bit of a space of stillness, because that's another thing that I just learned from the cacao is just sit in stillness. And I feel like this deserves a little bit of quietness right now, just so everyone can really feel how big that was. That is a huge paradigm shift. That is an enormous paradigm shift that will change our reality. That is so useful and valuable for all of us right now. It's amazing when these things come to us and sitting with them. Oh, thank you. Yes. Wow. And one probably last thing I would love to share is, and you and I have had a few discussions about this over the last few months, kind of on the offline, is this this beautiful misunderstanding and rebirth and re-expression around our sexual energy.
Yes.
And again, going back to, we've talked today about a lot of subjects that, have been either demonized, or there are people out there who say it's crazy, or whatever it is, whether it's plant medicines, whether it's communicating with a consciousness outside of quote unquote God, or whether it's, money, we can't love money, the love of money is bad, all this stuff that we've been conditioned. And sexual energy is one of them. And it's something that is so important. It's an energy that creates life.
Yeah, and sexual energy doesn't mean that you have to act on sex either.
Exactly.
There's a lot of wise ancient men out there, particularly, that use that energy for good and not exactly, I mean, sex can be good too, don't get me wrong, but they were using it for like innovation purposes, harnessing that sexual energy to, you know, create a new world. And we very much can do that. Women specifically, we're creating life inside of our bodies, but
exactly.
Yeah. This is a really powerful subject. Thank you for bringing it.
Such a beautiful subject. And I was talking a little bit about it online a few weeks ago and to my email community, and someone in my email community sent me a message saying, please unsubscribe me. This is not good that you're talking about this. And it's actually, be careful. These are bad entities coming through. And it was like just sitting with that and being like, wow, you know, again, there's our conditioning, right? Coming through for this person around, how dare we talk about sexual energy as a beautiful thing that we can actually transmute. And I'm even sitting here right now, and I learned years ago too that just how do we quickly transmute something. And we can even do a little exercise right here, right now, and especially if you have the cacao, because I love the cacao. Again, is the seed that's germinating inside of you, the creativity, the new perception, the opening up to new possibilities, to not being like, no, this is my way, because again, the plant medicines are seeing everything. We're only seeing this right now. So I love to do this also with cacao, where I have my cacao, and then I start to feel a little bit of that fiery, juicy sort of sexual energy in my root chakra. So just start to feel a little bit. Again, hands are up here. No need to touch yourself or do anything. Just start to feel it. And when you just put your attention to it, you start to just feel this. It's energy. Right? It's this energiness, it's this passion, it's this excitement that we just start to literally ignite like a flame, right? And we just start to ignite it and then breathe it. Imagine that flame coming up your spine. You just breathe it up your spine till it gets to the top of your head, right here, your crown chakra, and then hold your breath there for a second while it's there. So you're just like bringing that excitement, that passion energy. But hold it, feel it, imagine it, see it at the top of your head, right up there. So now you bring it through all your energy centers, and now you need to breathe again, right? You probably at some point need to breathe again, or you're gonna die. So allow yourself to just, allow yourself to breathe back down, and you're feeling the energy's kind of going back down. You're losing that energy now, right? The sexual energy, the passion, the excitements, and now you're reigniting it in that space, and you're reigniting it. And now you're going to breathe it back up and hold it up in your crown. And sometimes I do this before, and you do this a few times, a few breaths. And now you've ignited this excitement, this creativity, this passion. That is what sexual energy is. It's creativity. It's magic. It's turning nothing into a physical baby, bringing babies into a portal, which can happen during the act of sex. But then again, we look at Mary and, Jesus' mother, where there's, a story that didn't happen during sex for her, where she was able to create life. So what else can we create, whether it's life or stories or ideas or projects, when we ignite this energy? And so I just love to do this, whether you're in the act of, sex, or you're in the middle of an orgasm and bring that energy up, or even without, even just now, you're like, okay, I'm about to work on this project. How do I get myself into a really great creative energy? Okay, I can just sit here and ignite this energy and breathe it into my energy centers all the way up, hold it a few breaths, and it'll shift and change everything for you. And especially when you bring in the plant medicine, which, again, I'm speaking to the cacao because it's the one that I've been the most communing with, which in my opinion is the seed of life. It's a seed of creation, seed of rebirth, seed of letting go, seed of starting something new. So how beautiful to do that when we're in this process of, wanting to bring new life to something, to a new project or new something throughout our day.
Yeah, and let's just even consider bringing new life to the sexuality as a whole. I've worked with a lot of people in the NoFap space, and I did those monk mode challenges myself, which oftentimes this is more for men than women, but I think for any woman that's gone through sexual abuse or, you know, doesn't honor themselves sexually, this could be a great exercise as well, which is why I went into it. But these tools that are there and the support system and everything was great. But what helped even more was adding it all back in afterwards, being open to those things. Layla Martin came into my life, which you guys can all check out. She's very much about spirituality through sex. She talks a lot about like sexual magic, and she does a lot of her videos are very entertaining, and she does have a partner, so it's not like she's out there, you know, using a bunch of models, but she does use models. She uses her clients. These are real people with real bodies and real life stories that are relearning how to use their sexuality to manifest in their life. You know, manifest love, a better, more positive outlooks on life, sometimes for manifesting physical things too, like business success and money, like is, you know, brought up here, but also not only through Judy, but these are like, again, teachings from very long time ago. A man who thinketh. You know, it was talked about in there, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talked about this. I'm pretty sure Tesla and Einstein were into the sexual transmutation as well. So, you know, there is this new beginning here, this rebirth of sexuality, of something greater than porn or masturbation. And like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with masturbation, but you have to be doing it with the right intention. It's not about an obsessive compulsion to just get it out. It's, you know, this is a tool that can be used for good. And, you know, porn, I don't think I have much good to say about that. You know, I used to really like it, to be honest, but I realized how much it was hindering my healing from abuse specifically. I was kind of reliving it in a sense through visuals of, you know, it was a crazy realization to go through, and it was definitely one of those bad trips to have to face all of those things. But I'm glad that I did, and I'm also glad that it's behind me.
Yeah, that's always the best part when you're like, yeah. Thankfully, it's all behind me. What a journey! I'm grateful now for this.
I don't talk about these things too often, but I'm so glad that you bring it back because it's happening in my own life. You know, this new awareness. It's been many years coming into this, but I think it's beautiful to be able to start talking about it. Yes. And you're the second the second guest I've had on here that is you know, wants to get more into these talks and how it has to do with these special medicines. So I'll pass over to you so you can share a bit more of your realizations, and then I just want to let you guys know that we will be talking more on these subjects and how it intertwines as well. So
I'm so glad you brought up a lot of those people, those authors and people who have been transmuting sexual energy, because like I even think of Napoleon Hill, and you're right, he talks about it in Think and Grow Rich, and also in his most recent published book. Even after he passed, he had it sort of hidden, Outwitting the Devil.
Amazing.
Which is highly recommended. Everybody go on YouTube, buy the book, or go on YouTube. There's the audio there.
On YouTube, it's like 3 hours. There's no getting away with not doing this.
It's incredible to hear it over and over and over and over again. And yeah, again, in there, it's, you know, being highly sexed. He talks about being highly sexed. What does that even mean? Again, the perception, the conditioning is, it means I'm having sex all the time. No, it could be an exercise like what we just did. It's bringing the energy, acknowledging, becoming aware of it, and sitting in that energy and having it flow through you when you're even in a meeting or even somewhere, and eventually it becomes part of you, even more part of you. So it's worth being open to this coming into your awareness now. because it is an energy, as we talked about, as you just mentioned, that many people who've had many geniuses who've had incredible inventions, who are highly successful, are highly sexed. Again, just meaning they know how to bring that energy and have it, and bring the passion, the love, the passion into a conversation, like you and me having this conversation. Well, here we are bringing our love, sexual energy to each other. Does that mean we're like, madly in love with each other? No.
I am madly in love with you.
Madly in love with you. You're right. I am madly in love with you. but like this understanding of the bigger love, right?
Yeah.
It's not this, I must be with you, we must connect, and we must,
it's not all that lust. Lust, you can use that as a type of energy too, but nobody wants to be around somebody who's desperate or has lack of self-esteem. That's an energy too, but when you have this sexual energy, I think a lot of the time it starts with that self-love, and then it forms into being able to then attract others who are on those same kind of fields. I'd like to say too, I was thinking, like, the different emotions, like if you think about sexuality, like that is just an emotion, and salespeople, the really good salespeople, they are definitely riding that wave of sexual energy and being highly sexed.
Yes, right. And when you think of it, it's what does that look like? It looks like a passion, an excitement, able to articulate a confidence, a presence, all the stuff that comes with the sexual energy, right? And if we can get away from the thinking it's having sex and it's just this, and I don't understand how I would take this and move it here. Well, what happens when you're in that energy, right? Imagine bringing those emotions that come with that energy, and it's magic energy. It is magical energy. It's a portal. This is why when you transmute, you can create miracles and genius stuff and inventions when we really know how to do it, which is just something that I'm excited about, spending more of my energy and attention in practicing and learning. And it's just been beautiful.
Yeah, I think honestly, because people the dominator culture wasn't exactly able to stop us from having sex. I think that's one of the reasons why such things like porn were able to fly by, and like why there's so much credit on like what sex are you today, and why there's half naked kids all over every television show available, even the cartoons, so this is happening whether you like it or not. It's just how are you going to use that power? I'm most curious. So Judy, what's coming through when you're working with plants like cacao around the sexual energy? What messages have been coming through? How are you using it?
Okay, so very early in my journey with cacao, probably in my first sort of 6 months to a year in drinking her every day, so very early in that journey for me, immediately what started to come through was the energy of Mary Magdalene. And for her, to me, she is a beautiful expression of sexual energy for me. Not because of what we've all been told through the Bible, that the misunderstanding and the horrific lies that have been told about their perception of who she was, but because sitting with the cacao, and sitting also with this beautiful consciousness, Mary Magdalene, the spirit, communing with her as well, understanding what is able to happen, how we're able to rebirth, let go, literally die into an old self and rebirth into a new self over and over again, just like her and Goddess Isis, who, again, Goddess Isis also had a partner who was not altogether, human, just like Mary Magdalene with Jesus. And Goddess Isis, her partner was Osiris, and Osiris was killed and dismembered, and she remembered his body and was able to resurrect him. And isn't that interesting with Mary Magdalene and Jesus, that she was the one at the tomb when he resurrected? So was it because she just happened to be there that Jesus resurrected? Or was it, did she just happen to be there? Or was it because she was there that he resurrected? So there's all this, and her gospel having been found over the last few years, which was deemed not allowed to be added to the Bible, and what's in that gospel and how beautiful that is. And this whole understanding of the sexual energy and this beautiful communion that her and Jesus had, and how that was able to bring about this strength in Christ, in enduring what he was about to endure. Again, I'm not a religious person at all. In fact, I used to be.
But these are stories, they've been passed on for a reason. I think a lot of it, though, was also misinformation for the sake of oppressing the human spirit.
Yes. And now when we sit with it,
we're remembering.
And I'm remembering that Mary Magdalene is helping me to step even more into my sexuality, to who I am, and to the love, and to love that about myself, and the cacao. I always think of the seed germinating, helping me as well, and the cacao helps.
Very fertile.
Yeah. What's that? Very,
very fertile. Like you're talking about sexuality, the seed that's like at the core of it all, right?
Yeah.
And there is a remembering in that seed. That seed has infinite intelligence. And that's the same with all of our seeds. Stop taking them out of our grapes and watermelons. I personally like them.
I know, just eat them. They're beautiful. Munch on them. Oh, they're so good. So it's been a beautiful journey. I see now we're running out of time too, but it's been a beautiful journey with Mary Magdalene. And now just this whole other world that's opened up for me with Mary Magdalene, and working with some other people who are priestesses, and going deep into that remembering as well. So it's just been starting with the cacao and this reverence and honoring and asking to be that vessel. This has been transformational. How can I be a vessel so that I can share more of you and I can learn even more? And all of a sudden this teacher shows up, and then this person shows, this consciousness shows up, and it's just coming into a remembrance of the love that it all is, has always been, continues to be, but just the perceptions out there that are confusing us. When we're not still, we're like, oh, wait a minute, but this, I should be afraid of this.
Distraction. This is where we still have to do another one on outwitting the devil, for sure.
Yes, we will. Okay, because I again listened to it. I've done a mastermind, a book club, listened to it several times, and I'm like, this thing's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is so much. I'm going to even link it in the description, I think, just so it's easy for everybody. Yeah.
So good.
Thank you so much, Judy, for coming on and sharing so much with us here. How can everybody reach you? How can they contact you?
Well, I know that you're going to have a couple links in there. 5-day challenge for breaking up with.
You're going to send me all of it this time, because I was totally one of those person. I don't need the money. This is for them. I know you gave me affiliate links. I'll just give them what they need. And you're like, Ashley, take the links.
No, and if I can just share for 1 second why it's important that you have an affiliate link. Again, going back to money. So either all the profits can come to me, or I can share a little bit with you.
Yeah.
And so that it's not like anyone's going to pay more if they come to my website versus through your link. It's the same amount. But we are now in a place where if you are, if you've been touched, moved, inspired, transformed by our connection and our conversation, then of course you want to share. And of course I'm so grateful. I want to gift. And there's more than enough for everybody when we do this. And imagine if the whole world does this. We won't need the Amazons of the world anymore, the Walmarts. Like, who knows what's going to happen by saying this on your podcast. But but it's true. We'll just be like, oh my God, these products are amazing. I love them. Hey, everybody, here, affiliate
and
link.
It is a love language too.
Yes.
Giving and receiving gifts. It's such a big part of this whole picture of heart opening.
Yeah.
And you're a leading example in that.
Exactly. So it's Goddess Temple Cacao, but go to this link right here.
I'll have it in the
below. Yeah, we're going to add them below wherever you're watching this recording, and just click on those links. And then open up yourself to the possibility of also one day, if you're not already, supporting and acknowledging and sharing your work and someone else sharing their work, because the time has come where we all are ready now to experience abundance from a place of love, from supporting one another, from no more competition, from only collaboration. This is it. This is the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Judy. And I just want to add too that for anybody who doesn't know, Judy does all of these amazing trainings and videos and everything, but she also does sell cacao. So you guys can get products from her on there too. We didn't touch on that so much on this episode, but there is a previous episode where she talks about that journey, how she got her hands on it. And and so all of that is available. Just have to look through. Otherwise you can go to her website and it has everything there, and that of course will be linked below. Thank you all so much for showing up. Judy, thank you for your time and all your wonderful stories, insights, blessings.
I love you. I love everyone here. Sending so much love to everyone. Let's just go and continue to be love and change this world.
Oh, I'm with you, sister. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm really excited to share more about what this girl is doing. I just love Judy, her energy, her presence, the way that she's showing up. One of the things I'm really excited for too, and that I want to share with you, is her retreats. She's been pretty modest about this because I think it's really an amazing opportunity for anybody. So here we go. I'm just going to read off the website so you can get a bit of the experience here. So it's an untouched 8-day retreat. It's hosted by both Judy and she's partnered with a tour company, which, I think is beautiful, and very much Judy, she really does care about that energy exchange going all the way around. So working with locals sounds about right. It's what we can expect from her. She also says you can experience magical Peruvian culture with our beautiful Peruvian family. They formed beautiful soul connection and loving relationships in Tarapoto, Peru, and they're excited to share it all. It's untouched, there's no touristy areas, and all local experiences. Tarapoto is a short flight from Lima. And I've been in this area before, you guys. It's really something to see. It's actually how I met a good friend of mine, Jana, and later through her, Judy. So, another thing you guys can experience is picking cacao pods right from the tree. You can taste the delicious fruit inside the cacao pods from many different cacao variations, as well as many other superfoods found in the Peruvian jungles. They have outstanding cuisine. You can experience world famous Peruvian food here, and some of the cuisine here is definitely unique, so it's worth a try. And from what I remember, there's a lot of really healthy options as well, and food everywhere. So they do an Amazon River hike. You can enjoy hours walking through nature and several crossings. There's meditation on rocks, gifting of flowers to the waterfall, and mermaids. Also, you can enjoy nature along the walk. There's a waterfall walk as well. You can spend the day journeying through some of the falls there. There's Peruvian culture and family. You can find some local artists and sit in natural settings. Check out the jungle. You can experience your stay in retreats, and there's an Amazon lodge, and they call it an oasis tucked away along the famous Rio de Cumbaza. There's lodging with a pool, a jungle lodge, a wading pool. You can enjoy a great culinary experience in their open kitchen. It's outdoors, clean, fresh, Amazon air. You guys, I remember the outdoor kitchen at the hostel I was staying in the jungle. It was a beautiful place to just meet up and just start conversation. People were doing such amazing things there, and I met some lifelong friends One of the coolest things is that my room was very close to that kitchen, and right outside of my door was a starfruit tree. This place is tucked in nature, surrounded by beautiful Amazon trees and plants. There's accommodations, affordable lodge, floor-ceiling screens. You can take in all the soulful sounds and gorgeous views. Dining meals that are made for you and with love. Adventures on the banks of the river. Ecstatic dancing, journeying through the waters. There's just pure nature and culture. There's the cacao ceremony, drinking of the ancient sacred cacao, the blessing ceremony on the full moon. You can bathe in chocolate, have some exfoliating time with the cacao in the river. There's other bathing experiences, chocolate, meditation, journaling, and of course time with the beautiful Judy. She is also talking about singing at the river, having fires at the river, how coffee is a superfood, and some of the tastings that are downtown Tarapoto. You can taste cacao right from the tree, raw cacao. Play instruments together. Check out some of the natural swimming pools. Create art. Water dance. Meet the soulful community. There's lounging in hammocks, morning yoga. Quite a few testimonies here too. A tours operator, if there's some other things that you want to check out, it would all be accessible. They do take lifestyle photos along the way if that's something that you want. There's vegetarian and vegan options for some of their gourmet cuisine. Transportation. The only thing you really have to worry about is your flight to and from. And because they are plant-based and focused on a healthy diet, if there's other things, then you'd have to figure out your own alcohol or meat dishes. But other than that, if you have any questions, email Judy at Goddess Temple Cacao. Meet her in person if you're in the Toronto area, or you could always reach out to me if you want me to make an introduction. For now, I'm going to go. I love you all so much. Peace.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network